What's going on, you guys? GT Jesse back with another episode of Smash or Pass. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. In today's episode, we are reviewing the newly released 1987 Ford Sierra RS 500 Cosworth, and I am very excited to cover this car with you today. This car is the embodiment of 80s car culture, everything from the accordion style shift boot to the Chrysler LeBaron looking front end, the Fox body hatch rear end, and even the mesh wheels. I am very excited about this car. The Cosworth name has a very rich history in motorsport. It is a British racing engine manufacturing company. If you were not aware, it was founded in the late 1950s by a gentleman named Mike Costin and Keith Duckworth. If you haven't put two and two together, their last names, Costin and Duckworth, form the word Cosworth. Cosworth has had its tentacles interwoven in almost every element of motorsport since its inception. They have provided racing engines to Le Mans cars, every division throughout the Formula Racing series, several different Formula One teams have used their engines, and then they've even formed these production partnerships to provide production, race-inspired engines to companies like Ford, BMW, Mercedes-AMG, and even Chevy at one point. So I'm very excited about this car specifically. So let's head right over to the used car dealership. We're gonna go on ahead and buy this car. It is going for 200,000 credits. Let's see what Gran Turismo has to say about this car before we buy it. The Ford Sierra RS 500 Cosworth is a truly legendary car, one that all race fans especially like. It's a special model built with the globally popular Group A races in mind, which are for cars based on production models. The original Sierra is a rear-wheel drive car developed by Ford's European operation. The RS Cosworth was then created to compete in 1985's Group A races. The car was notable for its 2-liter front-mounted turbo engine created by the esteemed English company Cosworth. Its suspension and body were specially tuned. An even more powerful evolution model based on the RS Cosworth was released in 1987. That is this car, the Sierra RS 500 Cosworth. Everything has been upgraded, including the engine. Its exploits in the Group A races out of the late 1980s and early 1990s are still talked about to this day. So let's go on ahead and buy that car, 200,000 credits, and see what we get for our money. Starting off looking at the spec sheet, this car is a front engine rear wheel drive drivetrain. It has 468 performance points, max power 223 horsepower, 206 foot-pound of torque. It is a 2-liter engine and the vehicle weighs 2,661 pounds. That is not a great power to weight ratio, but you have to remember, this is a production car, not really a race car. It's not a carbon fiber body vehicle. This is, for all intents and purposes, a vehicle that you could buy and drive off the lot, road ready and inspectable. It has a front to rear weight balance of 56-44 for your weight distribution, so if you wanted to adjust that, you might want to throw a ballast on there and shift some weight to the rear to balance things out. It might make the car handle a little bit better. The vehicle has a quoted quarter-mile time of 15.3 seconds. We will test that out in the car's stock form, as well as many other driving characteristics of this vehicle. After that, we'll come in and make some upgrades, put some better tires on it, maybe some sport tuning, and retest drive it again. We're also going to head right over right now to GT Auto and do one of my favorite things with these street-ready vehicles, and that is customize the exterior. So let's go on ahead and see what we can do and what we can put on this car from the factory, starting with the front end. And we're gonna go on ahead and put that splitter on. It's kind of obnoxious, but I also kind of like it. 7,000 credits, that's done. Let's head over to the side. And all that does is removes the side bumper. We're actually going to leave that bumper. That way we have uniformity wrapping around the car. I actually think it looks kind of weird when you remove it. It looks like a car that might have had body damage at some point and they didn't repair it all the way. So we're gonna leave that molding on. All right, we're gonna head to the rear. And of course we need the obnoxious splitter to match the front. And let's take a look at the wing. Now this is a nice wing right from the factory. It's the dual wing, it's got the duckbill and then also the full spoiler. We can go wingless. which that's not a bad look. It looks even more like a Chrysler LeBaron now. I wonder if we go wingless, if we'll still be able to adjust the downforce. If we go to type A, that is just the duckbill. If we go to type B, that is just the tanning bed spoiler, or we can leave it standard parts equipped with the duckbill and the spoiler. I'm gonna have to leave that as is for now, but we might come back later and test it out wingless to see if we can tune the downforce. For racing items, we can add hood pins. I don't particularly like hood pins. I think they look kind of cheesy. We have tow hooks. Okay, I am going to add a tow hook. That's only 120 credits, and we're going to max out the roll cage as well. Let's go on ahead to other parts on the light bulbs. I kind of like the standard parts, but I found that these tend to be a little bit dimmer, so we're gonna actually go with the warm light bulbs here. It still kind of emulates those lights from the 80s where they were pretty, yellow and poor visibility, but these warm ones actually tend to be a little bit brighter. If we go to the license plate, actually just going to leave the stock license plate. I like how it says RS500, and we of course don't have any liveries for this car yet, but let me know if you'd like to see a livery video, see what we can come up with for this vintage racing car from the 80s. Okay, so we are at Special Stage Route X, and we are doing our first quarter-mile pull, and you can see that we have the Comfort Soft tires on the bottom left of this car. The car is completely in its stock form. We are going to do this test in complete stock form. We're then going to do a circuit test, check out the handling. We'll come back, do some upgrades, and retest and see if we're able to improve on any of our performance. That is the 100 meter pass. We're looking for a 400 for a quarter mile time. That is 200 meters. This is 300 meters. We're shooting for 15.3 or less, and we crossed that line at just about 14 seconds flat, well across the line there. So definitely was not difficult to beat the 15.3 seconds quoted. I didn't even use traction control set to 1 in that test, which is a pretty common thing that I do when I am testing out quarter mile drag times. So that was a really simple test to beat from the quoted times at the factory. Let's go on ahead and flip over and do some suspension and handling testing, and then we'll do some upgrades and come back and see how much we're able to improve on our performance. Okay, so for the road test, we are taking to Laguna Seca, and we're gonna go on ahead and see over the course of basically 5 laps how much we are able to improve our lap times. And well, actually, we're gonna see if we can even just keep the car on the road. So we've got the Comfort Softs on this car. The car is completely in its stock form. Let's see if we can set a baseline lap, which really, we're just looking for a consistent lap. We're not necessarily looking to set like a world record lap. We're just looking for a consistent lap where we keep it on the road, hit our braking points, and can set a baseline so that after we tune the car, after we add some performance parts, we can come back and see what this car is actually capable of after you put a little bit of work into it. And that is what we are trying to avoid there. It's actually going off track, but this is only the first lap, so let's see what we're able to put down after we focus a little bit and put a couple of laps down. So one thing I've noticed is the car is obviously very slidey because of the Comfort Soft tires and the untuned suspension. If you are used to driving like Group 2 cars, Group 3 cars, Group 4 cars in this game, any of these street cars, especially the older street cars, they've got very spongy suspensions. And if you remember when you first got the game and you're working through like a lot of the opening sequences and menu books and you're driving stock cars, production cars, the undulations on the track, they have a huge influence on your car's handling. It makes the car very unstable under braking. You really need to focus on braking in a straight line, and be really careful with like oversteer and things like that. And all of that, you know, those memories are all coming back to me as I drive this car around Laguna. The braking is, I won't say it's like touchy, but you just have to be really careful to brake in a straight line. And again, this car, if you recall from the opening, it is front engine rear wheel drive, so it does have a tendency to oversteer. I wonder actually if this car would turn out to be a pretty decent drift car, just simply because that back end, it really just wants to go out and kind of do a thing, you know, go out on its own. But let's go on ahead and see, we're on lap 2 here, what we're going to be able to put down for a lap time. First lap was 153.5, and we'll just see what, if any, we're able to improve upon. Looks like our delta is almost 2 seconds up, so we ought to be clear for an improvement. 151.6. So obviously, as we learn the car and how to navigate this track for the first time with this car, we're going to see some pretty big jumps in our delta. I think that just based off of what we've accomplished so far, if we shoot for like a 149, 148 in this initial session, oops, definitely angle of entry on that corkscrew was wrong. But 148, 149 ought to be, I think, attainable in this opening session, and then we'll come back after we've made the upgrades and see what we're able to accomplish. Okay, well, lap 3, we got 148.6. So let's go on ahead and see, actually, maybe we can get into the 147s. Or maybe we can overshoot turn 1 and not get into 147s. Let's see. Well, unfortunately, I messed up the last corner there, but I wasn't really on pace for an improvement, so let's go on ahead and just see what we're able to do here, see if we can get down into the 147s. Finally nailed that corner. You can see what a difference it's making on the delta. Hey, nailed that corner too. Nice. If we can get into the 147s on this lap, I'll be happy. 148.2. All right, we're gonna go one more lap. And if we don't miss shift, we'll see if we can get into the 147s. Okay, so we can see that the car is obviously difficult to drive in its stock form, and a lot of these older cars, these older street cars are. We know that, that's no surprise. But for the most part, we're not going to be driving these cars in their stock form. We're going to be actually coming in, putting some upgrades on the car, tuning the suspension a little bit, and then driving it. It might be a car that we use in the open lobbies, you know, have some fun with there. So let's go on ahead and we're just going to tune the car, add some performance parts, and see how the car handles at that point. As it stands, I obviously don't love driving the car. I mean, it's just a cool old car from a nostalgia perspective, but it's hard to keep on the track if you're used to driving race cars and things of the like. So let's go on ahead and add some performance parts and see how it handles, what its quarter mile time is after we do that. Okay, weight reduction, yes. We're going to put in all of the performance parts. We're basically going to max this car out. Weight reduction stage 2. We are going to add the ballast just so that we can shift the weight to the rear a little bit, see if we can get a little bit more of a 50-50 weight distribution. We want the crankshaft. All right, let's do weight reduction stage 3. Increase body rigidity. Racing, stroke up. Oh, I just got a trophy. Engine balance tuning, very nice. Polish the ports. We definitely want anti-lag. I don't fully understand what that does, but I like the way it makes the flames come out of the back of the car. Racing intercooler, air filter, and racing muffler. There we go. We're going to put the racing brake pads on. That's definitely going to help our braking. Exhaust manifold, brake balance controller, probably not necessary, but it's only 1,500 credits. Fully adjustable suspension, definitely on the clutch and flywheel. Fully customizable racing transmission, we definitely want that. Of course, racing soft tires, because why not? Carbon ceramic brake kit. All right, so we are back at Special Stage Route X, and we are just going to see what kind of quarter mile time we can put down after we have made these upgrades to the car. So let's go on ahead, line it up, and see, hopefully we can get under 11 seconds and say that we have an 11-second car. And we're going to go on ahead and do this first pull without traction control. Going to go on ahead and just, send it right into the wall apparently. All right, let's try that again. Okay, take two. I feel like that was a good launch. Really smooth on the throttle. 300, come on, come on, come on. Oh my gosh, we were just under. All right, we're gonna try that one more time, but this time we are going to do it using TC set to 1, and we're going to see if we are able to get this into the realm of being a 10-second car. Here we go, take 3. 10-second car, let's go. Oh my gosh, we're so close. All right, well, we didn't get into the range of 10 seconds with the car's current setup, but what I know about the current setup is I've basically set the car up to be decent around a circuit, not in a straight line. So I am confident that if we wanted to, we could go in and tune this car, adjust the camber a little bit, adjust the toe a little bit, play around with things a little bit more, maybe with the ballast, and get this thing into the 10-second range. But we're not going to spend time on that now. We are just over 11 seconds. So the Cosworth fully upgraded in Gran Turismo 7. We have made an 11-second car. But let's go on ahead. Okay, let's go on ahead and see what we're able to put down for a lap time. We were at about 148 before. So we ought to be able to improve on that quite a bit now that we have increased the power output, we've improved the braking, we've reduced the vehicle's weight, we've even adjusted the suspension a little bit. All of those things should absolutely yield a faster lap time. It's just a question of by how much. So let's see. Oh. Car is still very understeery, under braking. So I need to make sure that we are braking in a straight line. Whoop, oversteery too. I wonder if I went a little bit aggressive on the suspension adjustments. Quite possible. There we go. Just need to be really smooth. And, you know, I think that's really the case with a lot of these street cars. You just got to be really smooth with your inputs. Oop. Missed the entry for the corkscrew. It's okay. All right, first lap. Let's see what we're able to do here. $130.2. Well, we definitely improved on the 148. 18-second improvement. So it's really just from the power output, though. You know, the vehicle's still kind of difficult to drive, and I'm definitely not taking like optimal lines going through these corners. The braking points are quite different from before, and the car is still very understeery, under braking. So actually I brought up the brake bias here, and I wanted to shift that to the rear just to see if we could help the car be a little bit less understeery under braking. But the car actually feels immediately better once I've adjusted the brake bias to the rear. It's nowhere near as understeery going into the corners. So let's go on ahead and see what that translates to if I can put down a good lap here. No! Scuba Steve, damn you! So our all-time best is a 130 and change. So we'll just see if we're able to get close to that or beat that. But obviously, significant improvement from where we started at 148. That's fine. Everything's fine. Well, that was a really bad last section. But I did so much better in the beginning sections that I was able to improve my time by 2 seconds. Okay, so shifting our focus to the ranking board on the upper right here, and we can see that the first lap time I was able to put down, or the first sequence of 5 laps, I got to a 148.2, and then the second sequence of 5 laps, I got to a 128.6. So the ultimate question we have to ask ourselves is whether or not we should smash or pass on the 1987 Ford Sierra RS 500 Cosworth, and I hope that I speak for everybody when I say we should absolutely smash on this car. It is only 200,000 credits, and you get the opportunity to own a piece of Cosworth race history in your Gran Turismo 7 garage. Not only is it an absolutely beautiful car, like I said in the beginning, it is just the embodiment of everything 80s car culture. When you upgrade to the race exhaust, you get a side exit exhaust system, as you can see here. The car doesn't cost that much, and if you had somebody who is a little bit more adept at tuning the suspension and taking it around tarmac and keeping it on the track, you might actually have a car that is well suited to go around in circles and do so quickly. But aside from that, this is just a really cool car that I love having in my garage, and I'm going to look forward to taking in to open lobbies for track days and online car meets. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please don't forget, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel to see more content like this in the future. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and if you've bought the car, what your initial impressions of it are, and if you even have a tune or a setup for it to make the car more drivable and more aggressive and more fun to go around the track. Please do share that with me as well. But again, thanks so much for stopping by and watching this episode of Smash or Pass. You guys have a great rest of your day and enjoy this new update in Gran Turismo 7.